I think it should be a slam dunk in the Supreme Court. I have faith in them. You know, people like Kavanaugh, who the president fought for, who the president went through hell to get into place. He'll step up. Those people will step up, not because they're pro-Trump, but because they're pro-law, because they're pro-fairness. And the law on this is very clear.
That's Donald Trump's lawyer, Alina Habba, essentially threatening the United States Supreme Court, calling out a justice who Donald Trump appointed by name, Brett Kavanaugh, and saying, come on, Brett, you're going to do the right thing, aren't you? You know what you need to do, Brett. This behavior is so abhorrent, and as a law professor, to even watch a member of the bar like Alina Habba engage in these mob tactics like that, it is so disgusting to our law and the very foundation of our judicial system. Now, Alina Habba said that after she gave an interview a few days before to Fox, where she was saying that actually Donald Trump is scared with what the Supreme Court is going to do. And watch what she says here, because I want to explain to you why what Alina Habba said there about Brett Kavanaugh is even more mafia-like when you see what she said just a few days before that. Play this clip.
He has also voiced some concern that a court that has, he appointed 3 of the justices to the Supreme Court and it gave the conservatives a supermajority. He is concerned that they are going to look as if they're trying not to rule in his favor and might rule against him.
What do you say about that, Alina?
Yeah, that's a concern that he's voiced to me. He's voiced to everybody publicly, not privately. And I can tell you that his concern is a valid one. You know, Republicans are conservative. They get nervous. They, unfortunately, are sometimes shy away from being pro-Trump because they feel that even if the law's on our side, they may be swayed much like the Democratic side would. Right? So they're trying so hard to look neutral that sometimes they make the wrong call. And I just encourage them to really look at the law and the Constitution. It's very clean cut, Martha. There's no politics that should be involved in this. It's just simply American. And if the justices read the law as I do, as most Americans and attorneys do, even Dershowitz, who's a known liberal, it's just a simple decision, and it should have nothing to do with if you're a Republican or a Democrat. So I don't know. It's Maggie. I'm a friend of Maggie. Even though we're on different sides of the coin. But she's right. The president's always concerned about people worrying about that.
So you see what Alina Habba is saying. She's saying that Donald Trump is scared of what the Supreme Court is going to do. Now, what she says there was absolutely a bunch of absurd word salad. She goes, because Republicans are conservative, the justices are going to want to appear neutral, and maybe that's why they're going to rule against Donald Trump. But think about it from a perspective of intent. I mean, obviously what she says is beyond idiotic, but the fact that Donald Trump is worried that the Supreme Court is going to rule against him, not because they're conservative and that's why they're going to rule against him, because if they followed the Constitution, they should rule against him on the issues of absolute presidential immunity, as well as the disqualification issues under the 14th Amendment, Section 3, for the same reason that Judge Ludwig, who's a lifelong conservative judge, says Donald Trump should be disqualified. But Donald Trump is scared that the Supreme Court is going to rule against him. So what does he have Alina Habba do? What we showed you in the first clip. Alina, you need to threaten the Supreme Court and go on there on Fox and call out Brett Kavanaugh by name because Donald Trump is scared. And this is just the behavior of MAGA over and over again, and Trump. It's just mob tactics over the rule of law. I mean, heck, this was the leader of the Republican, and it affects everything. Like, this was the leader of the Republican Party in Arizona, Kelly Ward, saying that MAGA is a mafia, the Orange Mafia. This is from a few years ago, but play this clip.
Hey, stand up if you're ultra MAGA! Ultra MAGA! Hey, I'm a proud member of the Orange Mafia!
Okay, and you may say, well, Ben, that's just the former leader of the Republican Party in Arizona. By the way, I can go state by state. You want me to go to the Florida Republican Party? Christian Ziegler, who's being investigated for sexual assault for abusing someone who was involved in threesome parties that he was involved in with his wife, who is one of the co-founders of Moms for Liberty. Should I go to Michigan, where you have the leader of the Republican Party there, who posts about possums being eaten by eagles, and that explains why globalism and George Soros. So I could pretty much go every single state. But why don't I just show you Donald Trump speaking to the young Republicans at Cipriani's. Nothing says man of the people like Cipriani's, young Republicans. And here Donald Trump says Al Capone, mafia leader, was the greatest of them all, the greatest of all time. And so play this clip first.
First time in history. And I always say Al Capone, the greatest of them all, gangster, Scarface.
And in all of Donald Trump's speeches now, he praises the late murderous mafia leader Al Capone. And he goes, Alfonso Capone, the great Alfonso Capone, praising mafia leaders. Here, play this clip.
President, the most incompetent president we've ever had. But when they indicted me, and then again and again and again, I was never indicted. Now I'm setting records. Al Capone was not indicted so much. Alfonso Capone.
And then think about what Donald Trump does in all of his cases. It's mafia tactics, right? The Manhattan District Attorney brings a case against Donald Trump. And what does Donald Trump do? He posts a photo of himself with a baseball bat next to Alvin Bragg. And the message is sent to the followers, go and attack Alvin Bragg. Mafia-style threats and intimidation. And by the way, when Donald Trump's lawyer, Taki Takapina, Joe Takapina, is asked about this, what did Joe Takapina say? He goes, no, Donald Trump was just showing off that it was American-made. Here, play this clip.
That includes the witnesses for the people who are talking just
But it
as
also
much
includes
as
the former president swinging a baseball bat at the head of the Manhattan DA.
Well, I don't know where you got that, because if
That
you
was a tweet sent out by the former president.
No, it
doesn't
wasn't.
tweet.
And first of all, that picture was not him swinging a baseball bat. I mean, if you want to distort the facts, go right ahead. I want to address that. Yes, it is. He wasn't swinging a baseball bat at anyone's head. That was a picture of him showing off an American-made bat. Someone else put a picture of the district attorney next to him, and in an article posted that. That's not his article. It's not his photos.
Not using language that incites.
And then, of course, you have Donald Trump at his speeches that he gives, where, and this is the part of the way he encourages his MAGA mafia base to go and attack his perceived political opponents. This is what he was saying about Nancy Pelosi's husband, who was almost murdered by a MAGA terrorist who was convicted of his attempted murder on Nancy Pelosi's husband. And Donald Trump gives a speech and laughs about political violence, makes a mockery of it. Here, play this clip.
We had no terror during my administration. The only terror we had was Nancy Pelosi, who's a crazed lunatic. She's a lunatic. She is a crazed lunatic. What the hell was going on with her husband? Let's not ask. Let's not ask. I'll withdraw that statement. By the way, she's got a wall around her house. Obviously, in that case, it didn't work very well, did it? It didn't work.
So going back to the first clip that I shared with you, when Alina Habba calls out specifically and singles out Brett Kavanaugh's name after we know the intent, Donald Trump is scared of what the Supreme Court is going to do. You put the other pieces together that I just showed you, Donald Trump with baseball bats, Donald Trump threatening and terrorizing Nancy Pelosi and his perceived political enemies. I think Donald Trump says that he thinks Brett Kavanaugh is a weak link here. We know that Brett Kavanaugh's mortgage has been paid off by funds and sources of funds that are very suspicious and raise lots of questions. So I think Donald Trump is being told, whether it's by one of his MAGA leaders, other MAGA people that he looks to for this kind of terroristic guidance. And I think he says one of the ways to do it is Brett Kavanaugh may be on the fence. hey, Alina, because Alina will do whatever he tells her, go out there and use Brett Kavanaugh's name and send a message. Send a threatening message to the justice who we think could potentially vote against us and end up leading to Donald Trump losing. So that's what is going on there. And I want to share this with you right here as well. President Biden in the speech he gave on Friday talks about how Donald Trump's tactics of political violence and calling out Nancy Pelosi like that is just so horrific. Here, play this clip.
You can't be pro-insurrectionist and pro-American. You know, Trump and his MAGA supporters not only embrace political violence, but they laugh about it. At his rally, he jokes about an intruder, whipped up by the big Trump lie, taking a hammer to Paul Pelosi's skull and echoing the very same words used on January 6th. Where's Nancy? And he thinks that's funny. He laughed about it. What a sick... My God. I think it's despicable, seriously. Not just for a president, for any person to say that. But to say it to the whole world listening. When I was overseas, anyway.
So the broader question why I wanted to draw that contrast at the end is who are we as a nation? That's one of the things President Biden said in that speech at Valley Forge. Who are we as a nation? A mafia-style, authoritarian, wannabe authoritarian, threatening justices? Or are we a nation of laws? You decide. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 2 million subscribers thanks to your support. And check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. And have a great day.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.